You're welcome. You're welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's another wonderful time on the Mentors Show. It's another great time to spark creativity. It's another great time for us to spark creativity here on the Mentors Show. You know how it is. We bring guests on this show that inspire, that help us make impact. I'm your host, Dr. Olushola Ajide, and it has been quite a great learning session since we started this show in the month of May. We've learned from series of guests who have significantly impacted and influenced our lives. You're welcome. I am Nemi Official. How are you doing, sir? So we have had series of guests on this show since we started in the month of May who had impacted our lives, who had sparked creativity in various dimensions. And soon we'll begin to bring out snippets and nuggets from all these shows that will be of benefit, great benefit for you and I. And don't forget, please follow us on my handle at Dr. Olushola Ajide. Also on YouTube, subscribe to the Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel so that you can be able to get all these videos are already, some are already there. Others will be coming on that particular uh, platform for you to continue to spark, creativity, and for you to reinvent yourself. It's been a wonderful journey since we started in the month of May, and it's just been wonderful, phenomenal. Now, don't forget, we are live on Facebook at my live Facebook page, Olushola Ajide. We are live on Twitch at Africa Coaching Mentorship. We are live on Periscope at Africa Mentorship, and we are live on Instagram here, and on YouTube we're at Africa Coaching and Mentorship YouTube channel. So it's going to be great tonight. But while we wait for our guests tonight, don't forget that what we normally do here is to help you make impact, inspire you, help you renovate, invent yourself, and also make impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. And if we look at Africa, you see Africa is a continent that we all need to make contribution. We all need to make impact on the continent of Africa to bring Africa out of the doldrums, out of the seemingly, if you like, dark ages, if you like, out of the serious, bedeviling challenges, sometimes which when you hear, you just don't know how to bring. But the key point and one of the reasons for this show is to inspire each and every one of us that are listening and have been on this show. Either you watch live or you watch a replay on my YouTube, on my Instagram page, or on the YouTube channel, or on my Facebook page, is that you should be a solution to the problems of Africa. That's the key point. That's the goal. You shouldn't be the problem. No, we don't want any youth or any person to be the problem of Africa. We want you as our listeners, as our audience, as our guests, or who are audiences on this show. We want you to be the solution. We want you to begin to think of what can we do to bring a change to the challenging situations of Africa. And if you look at all the challenges or issues that are facing Africa, I'll just list some of them, which I believe strongly, if we put our heart to it, you and I can be the solution. First, we have on the list, in Africa, the challenge of poverty. Poverty is welcome, wealthy at day 22. Welcome. Tell us where you are joining us from. Africa, poverty is one of the key challenges. It's the major challenge for Africa. Poverty. And you and I, there is something we can do to bring a change to the case of poverty on the continent of Africa. If you look at it, that if you talk of poverty, it's actually the lack of resources. In other words, if someone does not have the economic mainstay to be able to change their situation. Welcome, Pan-African. Welcome. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your handle properly. So, the critical challenge in Africa is poverty. And I said poverty is when one is not having those resources to be able to change one's economic situation. So, okay, you're welcome. So tell us where you are watching us from. Let's know where you're watching us from. So you and I have a function, we have a role to play to help put an end to poverty on the continent of Africa. And like somebody said, that poverty is not the absence or the lack of money. The person says poverty actually is the lack of ideas. So in other words, if one is poor, one should have an idea that will transform that person out of poverty into a state where the person can have access or have resources to live a better life and to live well. So perhaps the challenge with us, and this is one of the essence of this show, is to jolt us, to wake us up, to say, you and I have the responsibility to wake other people up on the continent of Africa and to make people to know that they don't need to remain in that particular situation they find themselves. So I've mentioned the problem of poverty. Another problem that is serious in Africa is the issue of poor education. Poor education. And if one is not educated, actually, this is one of the reasons why one can be poor. Poor education, which has to do with knowledge about the circumstances that you are in, knowledge about the environment, knowledge about the world, knowledge about how to change your situation. So, and this comes with education. So it's important. Miss Tika A's, welcome. So poor education is a problem in Africa, and that's one of the things that you and I must find solution for. And it's great that tonight our guest on this show that we are waiting for is having some little bit delayed. Mr. Sean from Zimbabwe he has been able to make impact and he has been able to develop a solution from his own perspective that can help solve and tackle this issue of poor education. So you have a role to play in bringing change on the continent of Africa. You have a role, I have a role to play. And our guest tonight, who is one of Africa's Forbes 30 under 30, who is making great sustainable change in the educational space, is doing that. What are other issues on the continent of Africa? The problem of ill health. Health is a critical problem in Africa. And you can determine that you can be a solution. You can make that your why of why is there ill health problems, and determine to bring a change to that particular situation. So these are, I'm itemizing for us when we say we help you on this show to make impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. I'm itemizing these challenges that are facing Africa, which you and I need to rise up to do something about. So I've mentioned the issue of poverty, I've mentioned the issue of poor education, I've mentioned the issue of ill health. The other aspect of there is a great problem in Africa is hunger. Our guest is on the show. So another problem on the continent of Africa is hunger. You can send me an invite, Sean, and I can bring you on. So another problem we have on the continent of Africa is hunger. Now, you know what is hunger. When somebody does not have food, no food and no nutrition, pretty much. And Africa is seriously facing the hunger issues. So you have a role to play, I have a role to play to reduce significantly the Miss Ray Cooper, welcome. We have significantly, you're welcome, welcome.
Hi, Doc, how are you?
I'm very fine. Yeah, just trying to.
Okay, no problem. Sorry about the delay.
No. I know you are very busy.
Yeah.
I know you are quite
Okay.
very busy. I know that. I
Okay.
know. So let me just. So like I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, that hunger is a serious problem on the continent of Africa, and you and I, part of what we are trying to do is to instigate that you should be able to think of what can I do to solve the problem of hunger on the continent of Africa. We have land, there's arable land, length and breadth of Africa, but we don't want to go into farming. So we must technically do something about this. So that's what this show is about, helping us make impact on the continent of Africa. So you must decide. So if you are watching this live or you watch this replay, make up your mind that the point I've mentioned the problems of poverty in Africa, I've mentioned the problem of poor education in Africa, I've mentioned the problem of ill health in Africa, I've mentioned the problem of hunger in Africa, which I'll just stop because our guest is here tonight. That what can I do to decimate each of these issues? And good enough tonight, we have our guest who has taken the bull by the horn to say he is going to solve poor education issues in Africa, and which is the space which is why he is here tonight. He is here because he's a solution provider. He is here tonight on the show because he has been able to bring a change to say, I will not just sit and be looking. I must rise to the plate. I must step to the line and say, I'm going to do something about it. So our guest tonight is none other than Mr. Shoriwa Sean Benjamin, who is one of Africa's 30 under 30. In other words, when you hear Forbes Africa 30 under 30, it means in a couple of years, Mr. Sean will be a billionaire. Isn't it? So
I mean, we're all very hopeful for that.
So it's a privilege for us to have him here now, so that at least it's a privilege having him here now, so that when he becomes a billionaire, he will not forget us, isn't it? But the good part is that being recognized for Mr. Sean is being recognized for the impact and his ability to rise to say, I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to solve a problem. Because Africa, if there's no change in our in educational issues, if we continue to have poor education problems in Africa, God forbid that like in the next 50 years we are still where we are. And that, I think, is why we have tonight our guest, Mr. Sean Benjamin, who is the CEO and co-founder of Simba Solutions from all the way from Zimbabwe, and also has a product called Learnable, which is a virtual learning management system that helps teachers to convey education, to teach students, and not only just to teach students, to help children to understand concepts. This, which is the reason why we have you on tonight. So welcome, Mr. Sean. How are you today, sir?
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm very well. I'm very glad it's a Friday.
Yeah.
Quite tired. The week has been
Very busy.
longer than
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah. I know.
Especially with Learnable gaining a lot of traction as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been a very busy week.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So let's just go for it. Who is Mr. Sean Benjamin?
Okay. Well, basically, I'm just going to jump at that. I am a software engineer and entrepreneur.
Software. Okay.
Yes. I make mobile applications. I make mobile games, and now I'm also the co-founder of a company called Simba Solutions, which is also it's a company that is in Zimbabwe and now also has established itself in South Africa.
Okay.
And speaking to the application called Learnable, as much as it may seem that this is something that I came up with by myself, we had a number of stakeholders that actually approached us and said, look, we've seen what you've done in education, and just to give you a brief outlook of what we've done in education.
Okay.
We have developed a number of things while we're still in Zimbabwe, including virtual reality games that eventually won an award. The virtual reality game was teaching children and university students how to breed cattle, right?
How to breed cattle.
Custom game. Yes. We developed a game for the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education in Zimbabwe, and the objective of the game was to take students through an entire cattle breeding course. I think it's actually on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, you can see a video about that. It teaches children in the virtual world how to breed cattle, right? Because we realized that when the Ministry of Education approached us, they had a problem of they have a number of students placed all over Zimbabwe, but not every student can actually be present in a situation where they can have a hands-on experience with cattle breeding.
Okay.
So we created a virtual reality game where students would put on a pair of virtual reality goggles and they go through certain tasks that they are assessed on in that game, just to assess their ability to know what to do and how to react. And because it's a game that's created in the virtual world, we can create virtual scenarios, because you have people that have gone to that have taken these classes for cattle breeding, but they've never seen a cow that is about to give birth and it's sick at the same time.
Yeah.
So in the virtual world, we can actually simulate that and see how the students respond to that. So we won an award for that, and then we also went on to develop an application called ICT Essentials for teachers.
Okay.
This was in partnership with, it was sponsored by UNESCO and the UNESCO and the Embassy of South Korea.
South Korea, okay.
And basically what we were doing is that we're teaching ICT teachers in Africa how to teach ICT.
Okay.
Right? Teaching the educator. So because we realized that with a lot of Africans, a mobile phone is their first computer.
Engagement,
right?
Yeah.
So when you buy computers for your school, you place a teacher in an environment to say, okay, now teach the students how to use this computer. A lot of the time, the teacher may actually be lost, especially in the underprivileged communities and schools in and around Africa. The majority of them around Africa. So you find that most of them will actually be lost, and we had to teach them using a device that they were accustomed to, right? And I say accustomed to because there's a lot of access that the mobile phone gives to the African markets that people are not familiar with, that have not tapped into.
Maximized. Yeah.
They've not maximized it, right? Because you find that I know
Mm.
They saw WhatsApp as a way to send free and cheap SMSs, right?
Mm.
So you find maybe a grandmother who's in her late 80s going to a phone shop and say, look, my grandchild sent me some money. I want to buy a phone. Okay, ma'am, what kind of phone do you want? I want a phone that has WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to talk to my
Yeah.
grandson, to my son, to my daughters all over the world because I
Yeah.
want to talk to them via WhatsApp for cheap, right? I don't want to send them SMS that are very expensive.
Yeah.
So because of that, Africa sort of leapfrogged silently
Mm.
into that era where a lot of people in rural communities, whether direct or indirect, have access to either a low end or mid range smartphone that
Mm.
can run WhatsApp,
Mm.
right? So when we were making our application, including the ICT Essentials application, we
Mm.
modeled it around a low-end application that can run WhatsApp in rural communities,
Okay.
because we also realized that even if you look at the statistics right now, you'll find that most Africans have access in one way or the other to a phone that can run WhatsApp.
Yep.
Okay, so we made that our benchmark
Okay.
when we're making applications. So when we're making these things, we're not making something from the get-go for the computer. We're not making it for high-end devices. The first thing is like, what's the cheapest phone that can run WhatsApp right now? Can you make something great for that application?
Interesting.
So yeah, that's how we modeled a lot of our applications around them, and we've actually impacted thousands of teachers in Zimbabwe. If you look at the downloads for our ICT Essentials mobile application, which also equates to hundreds of thousands of, maybe also in the millions of children that were impacted by our application.
And is that free? Is the ICT Essentials free?
Yeah, it's completely free. You can even if you're not an ICT teacher, you can actually download it yourself and actually go through it and get to understand how to use a computer.
Okay.
So having done that, we won an award for that one as well, and those are some of the projects that got the recognition of Forbes magazine. And
Okay.
I was profiled as one of the Forbes 10 and 30 entrepreneurs. And due to that, we were also approached by a number of organizations. And one main one that we chose to work with was Telkom because they were very focused on Telkom.
Telecom. Okay, telecommunication.
Yes, Telkom. No, it's a company. It's an MNO, mobile network operator in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a foundation run by a lady named Sarah. She was very, very passionate and adamant about bringing teachers on the e-learning journey.
Yep.
Right? Because you find that a lot of platforms that are being made nowadays, e-learning platforms that are being made nowadays, even during COVID, they're sort of designed in a way to eliminate the teacher, right?
Okay.
So they approached us and they said, look, can we make something that is inclusive of the educator? I don't know how you're going to do it, but we want something like that. And that's when Learnable came about. We started working on it and also consulting our stakeholders to, as we're modifying and getting feedback and, making it better and better and better. Keeping both things in mind, bridging the gap in terms of access for the students that need access, as well as bridging the gaps in terms of the teacher that needs to be able to use a simple platform that can run on a very basic device to create learning material, right? And that's how Learnable came about, and we've been working on it ever since. And we've only started I wouldn't call it post-COVID, like we've only started releasing it like maybe about a week ago, gradually to different educators. And the feedback has been amazing.
Okay.
Very, very amazing. And I think because of the steps that we've taken, we have something very unique and very targeted in terms of serving a demographic that has been neglected for years, right?
So
if you look at the platforms that are out there right now, they're not targeted at the underserved demographic because they're mainly just copy paste. What has so and so been doing for years? Let's do exactly that. So we made a platform that you can access either via a dedicated mobile application or via a website. Or alternatively, if you don't have access to all of those, you can use someone's mobile device to access learning content on that device via WhatsApp. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
and I think that's for me. I think listening to you and what we've said and your previous presentation somewhere is I think is a game changer. Can you hear me?
Oh, your phone. It's okay.
Can you hear me?
I don't know if it's your network or mine, but there seems to be a connection issue. Can you say that again?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you correctly, but can you hear me?
I don't know. There seems to be a connection issue right now.
So you can you hear me now?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Is it possible maybe if you remove the earpiece? Is it possible? So, well, ladies and gentlemen, the important thing is that you could see the fact that Mr. Sean,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I think it was a
Okay,
Wi-Fi issue.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. Okay, so I said the important thing, which I think is what makes even your offering unique,
Yeah.
is the fact that is seemingly targeted to Africa, and I think that's where it is. The fact that someone, because data is very important. Internet data is important in Africa, and if anything
Yes.
can be deployed by via mobile, then that is a game changer.
Yeah. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. And one of the main strong points of our platform is that you can also take that content offline, right?
Okay.
Because during our studies, we realized that there are a lot of people that may have access to the internet, but it's limited access. It's either from a parent going to work and having access to Wi-Fi, or someone every now and then having access to an internet connection in rural Africa,
Yeah.
occasionally. So
Yeah.
we made a platform in such a way that you can actually take that content and make it offline. So
Okay.
the moment you get access to any connection access, you can actually download the content either via WhatsApp or via a dedicated mobile application and store it on your phone and still get the same experience that anyone who has full-time access has from wherever they are. Right?
Interesting. So it therefore be that maybe you came up with a really innovative way of
Yeah.
scaling the size of the content to very
Yes.
minute, isn't it? To be able to still
Well,
download the whole content.
that's the second part. That's the second part of this. The first part was about being able to take the content when you have access offline. The second part is how we were able to make the content very compact and not as data hungry as most content that's out there right now.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we used augmented reality and 3D models to be able
Okay.
to, instead of, because you find that a lot of the times when someone is doing a very interactive, not interactive, a very engaging lesson online, they utilize videos,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because videos are, something that can utilize to make some very great content. But you find that when you're making education material, your videos have to be very, very high quality
Yeah.
because you have writing on the screen, you're also talking in the background. You want them to be very, very clear.
To see everything. Yeah.
To see everything, which means your video needs to be running at 720p, which is a very high bandwidth hungry bitrate. Okay. When you're talking about Africa, you're talking about giving people access to the 320p videos, which will not be good enough for you to be able to see content on those videos. So what we did was, we said, let's eliminate the video aspect because we feel like video is not working for Africa and Africa's people. Let's create 3D models, right?
Okay.
And voiceovers. Right?
Okay.
So we have a 3D model that is pivoting in the 3D world.
Okay.
Okay. So when someone logs into our platform and they watch these 3D videos, they're not watching an actual video. They're downloading a 3D model and storing it on their phone. And then the 3D model is getting instructions from our platform to say, move it this way, move it that way. And these instructions come in the form of just text. which means you're using a fraction of a cent on average every 15 minutes, in terms of data usage.
Okay.
As compared to a video.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You may be using 50 or 100 megabytes for each 15 or 30-minute interval for that video lesson. So we greatly reduced that, and that's why also our platform took quite a bit of time to actually come up with, because we had a very, very specific use case, and that was underprivileged African schools and African educators and students.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Wow. It's. I think this is uh, innovative, and this is mind-boggling. I think that's part of the reason why you are listed as Africa's 30 under 30 entrepreneurs making wave on bringing change, sustainable change, and that's what this show is all about: helping people to make impact, sustainable impact in their community, in their country, and on the continent. And I think you are already typifying and doing that with all the projects and things that you have been able to see. But well, we jumped right into it, but we didn't know who is Mr. Sean. You just mentioned you've just gone technical. You've gone tech. We've been talking about technical. Who is Mr. Sean Benjamin? You as a person, apart from you as the software developer, the geek, and yeah, the Mac. Yeah, as far as for being the Mac Zuckerberg of Africa. So, who is?
Well, to be honest, that's a very difficult question to ask.
Okay.
To answer, because I'm still someone who is trying to find the most fulfilling parts of what I do. And
Okay.
I'm finding that more and more and more in helping and building, because I'm a capitalist. I'm very much a capitalist. We make mobile applications for all kinds of. We've made organizations, mobile applications for a number of companies that are listed on the stock exchange, and
Okay.
we've made a lot of things for profit. But we found a lot of fulfillment in developing and creating things that are very helpful to people that actually need them.
Okay. Okay.
And to speak a little bit more about my background, like I'm someone that when I was in grade 2, my mom and dad they moved me to live with my grandfather and my grandmother in rural Zimbabwe, very rural Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And people from rural Zimbabwe talked about us as the rural people.
So those who are living in the rural Zimbabwe says those are the rural people.
They
So
talk about us as the rural people.
which community is that?
So it was in Shawane.
Lushawane.
Shawane.
Jishawane. Okay.
Yes, a place called Maida, which was it was very detached from the rest of rural Zimbabwe. That's where I got my grade 2 and grade 3 and some of grade 4 education. And I feel that I find that as a blessing as well, because I got to experience a lot of things that a lot of people of our generation would never get to experience. Right? We would go. It would take me about 3 hours to get to school walking.
3 hours.
3 hours just to get to school, and that was time when I was walking, right?
Wow.
And another 3 hours to come. But the 3 hours was to get to where the school bus starts, to get to rural Zimbabwe.
Wow.
It was a 3-hour walk, right? And then straight from there we go to school. After school, it was another 3-hour walk back.
Interesting.
And you can imagine how a lot of people see people in rural Africa as whether it's lazy or just they're comfortable or they don't want to do certain things. I feel like when you have 6 hours dedicated just your
Commuting.
commute to school, and by the time you get back home, you have just enough time to eat, sleep, and wake up again the next day. You don't have a lot of time to explore other things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's one of the things that we very much focused on when we were making this mobile application. Say, okay, look, you have children that are commuting for hours and hours. This is not an old thing. This is still happening today. What if you could do your education at home and utilize the additional 6 hours of time and energy
for commuting to learn?
Yeah, into your education, right? Stay at home, whether it's due to COVID or if it's due to the fact that you want to catch up with the results or whatever it may be. have a situation where you tell students, okay, look, Monday to Wednesday, you're staying at home, and we're going to use an application that you can access via WhatsApp, use a grandmother's phone, or use neighbor's phones. UNESCO has been very helpful in our endeavors in terms of providing access to some basic tablets and mobile
Okay, you
devices.
mean UNESCO?
Yes, UNESCO. We work
Okay.
very closely with UNESCO in some of these applications.
Okay.
So they've been very, very helpful in saying, okay, look, we've made this thing together. Let's now give access to so and so, and let's buy devices for them, for example. Right. So yeah, you have someone in rural Africa and the underprivileged community, and you tell them, okay, Monday to Wednesday, stay at home, do these lessons during your day. Then Thursday and Friday you can actually come to school, and we catch up and see where you missed and where you left off. Africa's already leapfrogged in terms of technology and of course the what's it called, fintech and things like that. But in terms of education, there's still a lot of ground.
A lot of ground. Yeah.
And I think we're taking the first steps to actually direct Africa in the right direction, because I think this is something that we cannot go wrong with. We have the right people.
Yeah.
We have the right way of thinking. Right?
Yeah.
And it's also another thing about innovating in Africa.
Innovation, yeah.
Because when we realize that when you want to innovate in Africa, because a lot of educators and students, they really have a burden on them. A lot of them are, if you talk about educators, they're not very well paid as well.
Yeah.
When you create more work and less convenience on their end, saying, no, this is the future, you must now write your lessons on a whiteboard, on a tablet instead of on a whiteboard. You're creating more work for them and more admin work. Right? You're using technology the wrong way. Okay, technology is actually supposed to edify and enhance and also simplify my task and your task in delivering what wants to deliver. Right? So we took a very large amount of time making sure that, look, we are actually enhancing and making it very easy for educators and students to access this. You know? And that's where we started from. And I think that's where a lot of African entrepreneurs get it wrong. You start from the point of, I want to innovate. You don't start from the point of, I want to make people's lives easier. Right? And that's where a lot of people get it wrong. And I was part of a discussion a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Africa free trade agreement that's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, and you can quote me on this. I strongly feel like the Africa free trade agreement is not necessarily about you if you're not creating a superior product. Okay? I'm not gonna, no matter how wide they open the borders, if I can get an alternative of your product that's better for me, no matter what my situation is, while I'm in Ghana and you're in South Africa, I'm going to go for the one in Ghana.
Yep.
Your product has to actually be significantly better before I actually say, you know what, due to this Africa Free Trade Agreement, I want to buy that thing all the way by a couple of thousand kilometers away from me. I want to bring it down to pay for it online or whatever it is, you know. And for you to get to that resolution, you need to start from the point of, I want to innovate. Not I want to innovate, sorry. I want to actually make people's lives simpler.
Yeah.
And forget about copying and pasting solutions that are working in Silicon Valley in America. There's so many things, like what we're talking about earlier on, about how basic devices in Africa that run WhatsApp are actually untapped. People are not are not utilizing those platforms right now in Africa, right? Because people are busy copying and pasting solutions that are from the Western world, Europe, Japan, Australia, and trying to put them in the African landscape. And when they fail, they're surprised.
Yeah.
Because they didn't take the proper steps.
They didn't contextualize the product. In looking at the product in the environment where it's going to be deployed, and looking at the peculiar challenges and peculiar barriers, and see how those that work.
So we can celebrate Africa free trade, even borders being eliminated. But if if you're not going to take the time to create a superior
A superior product, a superior offering. Yeah.
people will not buy it. They'll still be in the same place where you are right now, even after Africa Free Trade has been done globally, or all over Africa rather, all over the continent. So I think that's something that I feel like a lot of African entrepreneurs, we need to take in mind and say, look, it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be nice. I know there are a lot of there's a lot of media out there that glorifies and makes this journey of discovery and entrepreneurship to be amazing. Like, oh, you have to work hard, and then eventually you're going to hit the nail on the head. You know, you have to be prepared to say, look, I'm going to work hard and figure it out.
Yeah.
And I might fall on my face. You know, if I fall on my face, what am I going to do? I'm trying to figure out a great solution for Africans. What am I going to do if I fall on my face? After spending so much time working on this, right? And people neglect that, and which is why you also see a lot of people give up or go for the easiest solution.
So people go for the easiest solution.
They make things look good on paper, so they get that initial funding, right? But now when it comes to actually gaining traction, this is why you also find that there's more money than there are good ideas in Africa right now. You know, and it's a very tricky scenario because you need to take the time first to actually make something great before you start going out and saying, okay, give me your money and I have ABCD. Put more time in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Ray Cooper, she says, a very interesting conversation. Sean, is there any model or person you look up to that is shifting education in Africa into the right direction?
That I look up, to be honest, that I look up to right now, I would talk about Sarah Tito from Telkom.
Sarah Tito.
Serum Tito.
Okay.
The head of Telkom Foundation. She's genuinely someone that has been doing it for a very, very long time, and she has the feedback where the problem lies, and she knows how to solve it. But her issue initially was the issue of how getting the access to the tools and the digital capability to solve the problem in a viable and realistic way.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think she's someone that I do look up to.
Okay. So
and I also, aside from Sarah, if we're going to go to the whole of Africa, I would talk about a guy from ALU named Frank. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Where is that?
Fred Swanica.
Fred Swanica.
Yes, he's the head of Africa Leadership University.
Africa Leadership University.
Yes, ALU. He's someone who started his business during a time when restrictions, we're talking about the Africa Free Trade, during a time when restrictions and policies did not make it possible for him to start a university. And instead of trying to change those actively, he went about saying, okay, how can I circumvent these things using technology? Right? And right now, he's the head and owner of one of the most prominent university and leadership academies in Africa. And
where is this based?
I believe it's based in, if it's not, it's Kenya, right? I believe it's based in Kenya.
Okay,
You can correct me on this one. Yeah. But he has campuses all over, and he also has digital campuses where people can register online to get their lessons. Yeah.
Okay, she said, Miss Ray Cooper said, oh, Fred Swanica, ALU is a very impressive case study. She's clapping. Yeah. That's good. Thanks, Miss Ray Cooper. Interesting. Now, we in this conversation, part of this conversation is to try and unpack and look at how creatives and people who are making impact, how do they think? So how do you think as a person? What's your thinking process like?
If I'm to simplify it, I think I would say, because someone who's still trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I don't have it all figured out. I'm taking it as a journey rather than a destination. If I'm to simplify that, I would say that there's a lot of glorification that's around being an entrepreneur and quote unquote innovator. It's the title of being an innovator and entrepreneur. But when it comes to actually doing the work, when you start doing the work, you realize that there's a bottleneck. There's a reason why certain solutions don't exist. And the very first thing that you should be thinking about before you make a profit is, let me find out why they don't exist. Let me find that bottleneck.
Okay.
When I find the bottleneck and say, okay, this is why people are not exceeding and doing what I was talking about, let me try to find a way around it. Right? And that process is very, very important. I found it to be very, very important, very, very key in entrepreneurship, especially in African entrepreneurship. Yeah.
So for you as a person, you have, what you gave us was a coded response. But so, ladies and gentlemen, what Mr. Sean gave us there was a response as to how does he think. And even though he's giving us a coded response of how things are, but all we can deduce from that is for you as a person, the way you think.
Something went wrong with
yeah. I said, I was trying to say that for you, we asked the question of how you think, and you try to give us a coded answer, but what we can deduce from that answer is, can you hear it now? Maybe from the internet from the end, but no problem, you catch up. So is that for you as a person, the way you think is forced to ask the question why are things the way they are. And okay, Sean has left because of, well, he will come back. So but we can get the point that for him as a person, he's back. But for you as a person, it means it goes to that point of view is more of asking the question why. Why is there a bottleneck, and what are the bottlenecks, and how can I solve the bottlenecks problem to be able to. You're welcome back.
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I was trying to summarize based on the question I asked of how you think, and even though you alluded to the fact that you are still on the journey, you've not arrived as it were, but you've coded it to saying based on the challenges of being an entrepreneur and an innovator is more of for you asking the question why. So criticizing, so your thinking process or pattern come from that aspect of criticizing why is it not working this way, or why is it working that way, and you are not why is it not working that way, and I think that it's for us and for all the guests we've had on this show, it seems to be the same, asking the question why are things the way they are. I was reading something on LinkedIn. Was it yesterday or the other day? A man was saying, another man was saying that, well, not that is an average, was saying that when he was in school, the teacher always says that he's absent-minded. So because he's absent-minded, he doesn't always engage in class. So they made him to get, I think, 43 out of 44. So the teacher who is teaching this particular student always says he's absent-minded. The teacher, now this person writing about his own experiences, but the teacher did not try to know what is he thinking about. But he was saying while he was in the class, what he was asking is, they says one. What is one? Why is one called one? Who first invented one? That is a child trying to make sense, to understand. What is one? Why this concept you are teaching? And every time I pick my children, when I bring them, I ask them, what did you do in school today? I ask them, did you ask your teacher, how is this knowledge applicable in real life? How would I use this knowledge? How would I, you teach me, I remember when we were in the higher education in school, talking about Bayesian statistics and all those things. I would be asking, well, how does one use statistics in real life? And I think this applicability and asking why is a critical factor. So for you as a person, it means
I think it's very important.
yeah, you keep asking why. Why are things the way they are? What are the
Right.
why are things failing, and what are those issues? How can we solve those problems? And I think that
Yeah.
points to the
It's very important. And to add to the example that you gave, I think it's, and also I'm going to highlight again that I have not had it figured out, and my process may not be the best process out there. So it's very much up for debate. But when I first started programming and writing software, due to ignorance, I started with a program called Notepad. I
no
don't know if anyone remembers Notepad.
notepad. Okay.
Yeah. So I started learning and teaching myself how to program using Notepad, which was very difficult because it was a bare bones way of making applications and programs. Right? Most people use what's called an IDE, which is an integrated development environment, which sort of like tells you when you make a mistake.
It gives you suggestions.
It gives you suggestions. It
Yeah.
tells you in line such and such if you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it tells you before you even finish typing something, it gives you suggestions. Say, oh, do you want to type this? Right? And because of the fact that I started with something that's very bare bones and very basic, I found it very easy to solve problems that a lot of programmers that were facing at that time that were very structured. Right? Someone would make a program and then have something out of place, right? And what the program is looking like is not perfect. And I had a client base of programmers that would come to me constantly and say, the IDE, which is the integrated development environment, is telling me this is correct, but when I try to run it, it's not working. Then I would open that program in my Notepad and go through line by line because I'm so used to it.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Very quickly pick out like, oh, no, on line 3065,
Wow.
you use this character, which is not a Unicode character. You're supposed to use a Unicode
Wow.
character.
Wow.
And then,
Wow.
I had a client base like when I was younger that would always come to me with those problems. Like, why
Wow.
is it not coming out the right way when the IDE says it's correct? And I play the role of the IDE and I go through every single line
And see it.
very quickly.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting what you're saying.
Understand.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you. So it's very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. What Mr. Sean is saying is that, you see, for all of us going through any pain or any challenge or any hardness or hardship, is actually benefiting you to prepare you in the future. Going through that hard process is now beneficial for you, in which your brain is even now processing and working
Yes.
to be able to quickly find out the solution, because you started with that very challenging process.
Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better and work on yourself being better.
Hold on, let me write that. Don't wish
Don't wish it was easier.
it was easier.
Wish you were better and work on becoming better.
So wish you were better
Yeah. And work on becoming
and
better.
work on becoming better, which is what this show is all about, helping people to renovate and reinvent themselves, working on becoming better. Interesting. Lonnie Lab said the presence of curiosity breeds innovation. He says the presence of curiosity breeds innovation. And then Miss Mary Cooper said, welcome Mary Ajide. Miss Mary Cooper says, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better and work on becoming better. Nice. So Mary Cooper is giving a clap for that, your soundbite of wisdom. And I think that's for me, it sums it up of how Africa can change, isn't it? how we can bring about change in Africa, and how each of us can change ourselves when we are, there are times in which we have, and I've mentioned it on this show, in which we have some belief systems, and we seem. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
We
now.
have some belief system, and we are wishing how we can change. So it's not to wish how things to be easier, but to see how can I become better, how can I improve myself, how can I reinvent myself, how can I innovate myself. And I think it's quite very. So let's now go to the point. Now the way it's going, Instagram will time me off, so I will need to bring you back.
Also, just to put a disclaimer out, we're experiencing load shedding, and it's starting at 9 o'clock.
Today,
So yesterday,
9 o'clock.
yeah.
So it means we have
Started
six.
at 9 o'clock.
That is 6 more minutes.
It's 6 more minutes. Yes.
Okay. Now it means that I will allow you go now, because we're not even finished asking you the questions.
Okay. Good.
And
I think let's
but no,
summarize
no.
the
What we're going
first
to
one.
do, is that we'll bring you back again. We'll bring you back on this show again, because tonight it's been quite very insightful. We've learned great things from yourself, and good enough, Miss Ray Cooper and Lonnie Lab have helped to continue to give that engaging. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please follow Sean to keep tab with what he's doing. Follow us. Follow me at Dr. Olushola Ajide. Follow us on YouTube at Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel, for you to see some of the Sean's video recording and other ones, even though it will still be on my Instagram page. So please, we'll definitely need to bring you again. And there are great things which I believe this conversation, we need to continue this conversation. We need to find a way of, making greater impact. So thank you so much out of your. So how do we join the launch?
Oh, thank you. Well, what you can do is to go to the website and fill in your email address.
Okay.
And we are actually going to be giving some licenses for free. So if you can send me email addresses, maybe to my inbox. We haven't launched the free
Okay.
license campaign yet. So, but if people send me some email addresses in my inbox, we can actually add them to the people who are going to try it out for free.
Okay.
With this,
So ladies and gentlemen, Miss Ray Cooper, Lonely Lab, if you want to get access to this, just send me a personal DM with your email address. I'll forward it on to Sean, and you'll be able to be first people. And I think Miss Ray Cooper might be a teacher, or because she has quite an interest in education. And thank you for coming tonight. So thank you so much. So we would like to we wish you all the best, but we are going to bring you back.
Okay.
This conversation is very interesting.
That would be very excellent. And I would like to thank you very much for taking the time for creating this platform as well.
Yeah.
And allowing me on here. I really appreciate that. And I can avail myself for a second session. And so, yeah, I very much appreciate it.
Thank you so
And
much.
thanks to all those that have joined our live. I know it's a Friday and there's so many things going on. Netflix and chill and going out, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for taking the time to.
The TechQueen project says, thanks, Shola, that was very insightful. That's a good feedback. Thank you all. So please, if you are interested in joining Sean, send me your email address. I'll forward it to him, and we can add you to the project. And when they have the free license, you'll be part of it. So thank you so much. All right, cheers.
And also share this video with as many people as you can.
I would.
So that we get as many people that need
Traction.
this platform for them to start using it. Right?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. And also the audience, please share it as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
All right, bye. Wow, what a night. Interesting.